Welcome back, General. In a previous video, I gave you an extensive overview of the People's Republic of China, and in particular, the People's Liberation Army, covering its military tactics and arsenal. I also mentioned 4 of the PLA's most prominent generals, Fei, Tao, Kwai, and Ling. In this video, I'll be going into more detail about Fei, Tao, and Kwai. Since General Ling has a unique mix of all the faction's units, structures, and weapon systems, I will go over her arsenal and stronghold in a future video. So for this one, I'll focus on the short biographies and unique weapons and tactics of the other 3 PLA generals. Beginning with General Anvil Shin Fai.
Are you ready to face my horde, General?
General Fei was stationed at Camp Snake near Beijing, and was the PLA specialist when it came to infantry, both in their training and weaponry. Reading from his short biography, on the battlefield, China's greatest resource is the millions of individuals in uniform, and General Shin has staked a career on them. Known to his troopers as the Anvil, General Shin can mobilize 4 divisions in 24 hours thanks to a streamlined and sometimes brutal command structure. Discipline is very strong with General Shin, and officers and infantry who can maintain it are rewarded. The general has developed advanced field training programs for the Red Guard and elite operatives. Military analysts credit the speed and professionalism of General Shin's peacekeeping units with preventing the Taiwan conflict of 2009 from becoming a global war. His divisions feature several weapons and transport systems unique in the People's Liberation Army.
It's time to unleash the horde!
Due to Fei's intense training program, all infantry under his command would be trained as veterans from the barracks. In addition, his troops were already instilled with nationalism when fighting in a large group. Fei could order specialists at the propaganda center to further inspire his troops with patriotism, which encouraged his horde to fight even harder against their enemies.
Our patriotism will overwhelm the enemy!
If patriotism wasn't enough to help Fei's troops win a battle, he, or those rank 1 generals under his command, could encourage them to enter a frenzy in an attempt to turn the tide in their favor. Unlike other PLA generals, whose standard troops were Red Guard soldiers, Fei's standard troops were minigunners.
Minigunner reporting for duty!
Minigunners weren't just Red Guard soldiers. They were armed with miniguns, which were more effective at taking out enemy infantry and light vehicles. While the profile picture shows the minigunner carrying an AK-type weapon, actual footage of the trooper shows him carrying a firearm with 5 barrels on it, indicating that he is armed with a minigun. It might take a few seconds for the minigun to spin up, but once it reached its maximum fire rate, it allowed the gunner to send an endless stream of bullets downrange at a target. Minigunners were trained so well that they could even use their weapons against aircraft, shooting down both helicopters and airplanes. While standard Red Guard soldiers were recruited in pairs, the minigunner could only be recruited 1 at a time, due to the increased costs of their training and equipment. Fei could have his minigunners go through further training, recruiting them as elite soldiers.
And think, this is just the first wave.
Fei, and those 3-star generals who served under him, could paradrop infantry reinforcements on the battlefield. Rank 1 of this support power could paradrop 5 minigunners from a Y-8 transport plane, and Rank 2 would deliver 10 minigunners. Rank 3 would paradrop 15 minigunners using 2 Y-8s.
I have enough men to hold a parade. Can we have it in your base?
Instead of the standard hackers, General Fei would recruit super hackers. Super hackers were specially trained by Black Lotus herself. This meant that they were stealthy, able to hide from non-stealth detecting enemy units. They could hack and disable enemy buildings faster. They could also hack into ground vehicles and neutralize them for a short period of time. A Black Lotus agent under Fei's command was known as Super Lotus. Super Lotus was a more skilled veteran Black Lotus agent who could capture buildings, disable vehicles, or cache hack a supply center faster and from a greater distance. To better support his infantry, General Fei would arm himself with specially modified vehicles. The first of these was the Assault Troop Transport, also called the Assault Troop Crawler.
Troop crawler ready for assault.
By default, the assault troop transport carried 8 minigunners. Unlike the standard troop crawler, the assault transport was more expensive to construct, but had firing ports that allowed the infantry inside it to see and engage enemy units, both on the ground and in the air. The assault crawler could detect nearby stealth units or demo traps, and was automatically equipped with a speaker tower that would inspire nearby troops to fight harder and heal any battle wounds. Like all speaker towers, it could be improved with subliminal messaging from the propaganda center. Of course, the assault crawler also transported medical staff and supplies, so a wounded soldier could hop inside it and receive immediate aid. The assault troop transport was slightly better armored than the crawler, but infantry would still jump out of the vehicle if it was destroyed. If Fei managed to capture a reinforcement pad, he would request assault troop transports be paradropped on it.
There are many more in my army ready to sacrifice for China, General. You won't stop us.
The listening outpost was replaced by a modified version called the attack outpost. The attack outpost automatically carried 3 tank hunters inside it, but it had enough room to carry 5 more infantry, for a total of 8. The attack outpost was still stealthed when not moving, and could detect other enemy stealth units in a wide radius around it. In addition, it could predict the movements or attack orders of enemy units. Just like the assault troop transport, it came equipped with a small speaker tower to heal and encourage nearby troops. The attack outpost was still lightly armored though, and could be easily destroyed by heavy weapon systems. Troops inside the outpost would typically jump out of the vehicle to avoid being killed in its destruction. Just as the assault troop transport was a more infantry-focused variant of the troop crawler, so too was the assault Helix. The standard Helix could carry up to 5 troops, or 1 vehicle and 2 infantrymen. In contrast, the assault Helix could carry up to 8 troops, but no vehicles. Due to its configuration, the assault Helix could only be upgraded with a bunker, which allowed its troops to engage enemy targets on the ground or in the air. It could still be armed with a napalm bomb, which was quite devastating against structures, especially when it created a firestorm that burned anything and anyone caught within it. The bunker was typically a vital defensive structure for any PLA general, and Fei used an improved version of it, called the fortified bunker. This bunker featured metal plates and extra concrete blocks to provide additional protection and armor for the troops inside. Troops entering the bunker would place sandbags around it. Up to 10 infantrymen could garrison the fortified bunker, double that of the standard one. While slightly more expensive compared to the standard bunker, the fortified bunker was built with a minefield around it. These landmines could be upgraded to become neutron mines. Due to Fei's confidence in his infantry divisions, he didn't have any heavy tanks in his arsenal, such as the Battlemaster or Overlord tank. He didn't use Gatling tanks either, as a full platoon of his minigunners was more than capable of bringing down aircraft and engaging enemy infantry.
Without a war factory, you have to fight me man-to-man, General.
Other vehicles, such as the Dragon tank, Inferno tank, and ECM tank, would cost more money for Fei to construct and deploy on the battlefield. If another general were to face Fei in battle, they would find he didn't see commandos such as Colonel Burton or Black Lotus as major threats to him.
You have brought Colonel Burton to our little war, General. Even he will fall when faced with the Horde. Black Lotus? How will she help you survive my Horde, General?
However, if a GLA general recruited Jarman Kell, Fei would immediately be concerned by his presence.
All forces beware. Jarman Kell is hiding in the field.
As for super weapons, Fei would try to dismiss both the Scudstorm and Particle Beam Cannon as insignificant threats to him.
Build your Scudstorm. It will only hit a few of my men. The rest will destroy you. That particle cannon is useless against my Horde.
Fei would appear dismissive of the nuclear missile too, until it was launched at him. Then he would panic hysterically.
I thought nuclear missile were not allowed. This is hardly fair, General. Nuclear missile approaching! Flee! Get me out of here!
Due to Fei's affinity for infantry, he would get quite displeased if an opposing general targeted and destroyed his barracks.
No, not my barracks. We will build another, General. Then you will pay.
While Shin Fai was the PLA's formidable infantry general, he was sometimes overshadowed by the PLA's other two more prominent generals.
I do not accept this defeat, General. My men will cover my escape, and we will fight another day.
The second, and probably the most delirious of the three, as it pertained to nukes, was General Tsing Shi Tao.
It looks like a nuclear winter this year, General.
General Tao was the PLA's leading expert on nuclear technology. He was stationed at Base Ox in Chengdu, China. At least, that's where his background claims he was stationed. There is a discrepancy with this bit of info, as the official general's map shows him being stationed somewhere in Tibet. This icon could just represent the location of his primary stronghold, though, which I'll provide more detail on later. Reading from his biography, General Tsing gets what he wants, at any cost. Impatient to a fault, General Tsing relies heavily on nuclear technology on the battlefield. Unfortunately, there have been several terrible accidents. While General Tsing was the responsible officer during the Mudanjiang disaster of 2007, his considerable talents saved his career. General Tsing believes such trials and errors are part of the development process. His divisions are beginning to see the results of his convictions, as a prototype of an advanced nuclear reactor has produced better results. Programs to develop tactical nukes and to promote stability in radioactive isotopes are producing better safety records, which will be well received by his troops. Due to Tao's affinity for all things nuclear, he, and those one-star generals who served under him, were able to construct nuke cannons from the war factory, without first having to put in a special requisition for them. When calling in an H-6 bomber to carpet bomb a target location, the bomber would drop tactical nuclear warheads. These warheads would explode in a small but intense nuclear explosion. These bombs caused widespread damage and left behind clouds of radiation that could kill any survivors of the initial bombing run.
Soon your base will glow like the sun.
As mentioned in his biography, one of Tao's major achievements was the creation of an advanced nuclear reactor, which produced more power compared to its standard counterpart. It looked a little different too, with extra pipes and smokestacks attached to the structure. The reactor could be set to overcharge to provide more power to Tao's base, but just like the standard reactor, overcharging the advanced one caused damage to it over time, and failing to shut it off resulted in the reactor's destruction.
Oh, I see your power is down, General. Should I send you some nuclear energy?
Unlike other PLA generals, who had to specifically purchase nuclear upgrades for their Battlemaster and Overlords, Tao's were automatically built with these features in mind. This meant his tanks rolled off the assembly line packing more firepower thanks to their uranium shells, and they could move across the battlefield faster due to their nuclear engines. The tank's shells even left behind clouds of radiation that were quite deadly to infantry. Battlemasters in Tao's arsenal specifically had a modified turret to reflect these nuclear modifications. If the tanks were destroyed, they would explode violently, damaging any friendly units and structures around them, leaving behind a cloud of radiation. Tao was able to figure out a solution to this issue, though, by providing his tanks with a cleaner nuclear fuel through an upgrade called isotope stability. This upgrade prevented the collateral damage caused by his exploding nuclear tanks. Those one-star commanders who were under Tao's direction could request rank 1 emergency repair crews to fix any damaged vehicles on the battlefield. If Tao captured a reinforcement pad, it would periodically receive paradropped nuclear Battlemaster tanks. MiG and Helix aircraft in Tao's arsenal were more expensive to construct and train. They could be equipped with unique nuclear modifications, though. For the MiG, its missiles would leave behind a small cloud of radiation at the target location. These missiles could be replaced with tactical warheads from the nuclear missile silo, giving the aircraft the designation of Tactical Nuke MiG. The nuclear missiles of these MiGs were excellent at taking out enemy ground vehicles due to their increased explosive yield. They weren't as effective against enemy base structures, however, since the nuclear missiles couldn't generate a firestorm to burn them down after the initial strike. As for the Helix transport helicopter, the standard napalm bomb would be replaced with a nuclear bomb.
The nuclear bomb is ready.
Like other nuke weapons, it left behind a cloud of radiation after exploding on the target location. The Helix would continue dropping these bombs until the target was destroyed, and its pilots were ordered to stop.
Oh, maybe you are having a meltdown, huh?
Other unique features of Tao's arsenal included cheaper nuclear missile silos, which helped him get this superweapon constructed before an opposing general built their own. With the exception of the hacker, all infantry were more expensive for him to recruit and train. This makes sense when one considers the propensity for collateral damage to occur, given the glowing nature of Tao's arsenal.
The glow! The wonderful glow! Can you not see it, General?
If any general wished to face off against Tao, they would have to fight on his terms. This meant assaulting his nuclear stronghold, which was located in either Tibet, according to the general's map, or near Chengdu, according to his background info.
Don't worry, General. The warheads are on their way.
The stronghold was most notable for the dried riverbed that stretched from the west side of the map to the east side. The river actually splits near the middle of the map, with the second distributary navigating south. The fork of the river was contaminated with radiation, so it was best for troops to avoid crossing it there. Overall, the region that encompassed Tao's stronghold could be split into 4 quadrants. In the southwest quadrant was an area of flat land where an opposing general could establish their base, and make use of a nearby supply dock. To the southeast of this base were 2 oil derricks, which could be captured and used to provide additional funding for the opposing general. Just slightly north of the base was another supply dock. Further north of that dock is a large hill that has an additional supply dock and oil derrick at the top of it. Northeast of the base was a forest, where Tao typically sent his forces through in order to try and destroy the opposing general's base.
You cannot stand against my might, General.
Not much is in the southeast quadrant of the map, just a large barren hill and another oil derrick that is directly east of the opposing general's base. Between the northwest and northeast quadrants is an abandoned and irradiated village.
Do you like my village, General? Please, make yourself at home.
Within this village was an oil refinery, which, when captured, would reduce the cost of vehicle production. There was also another supply dock located in the middle of the village. In the northwest quadrant was Tao's stronghold, which was situated at the base of a large barren hill. There were 2 large cooling towers amongst the various defenses along the stronghold's perimeter. This quadrant had not 1, but 3 nuclear missile silos, with a nuclear bunker right next to each one, housing additional warheads. It was vital that the opposing general destroy these silos, or Tao would use them to quickly reduce their base to dust.
Coming to inspect the nukes, General? You can look, but don't touch.
In the northeast quadrant of the map is an extension to Tao's base with 2 more cooling towers and a couple more nuclear missile silos and bunkers, with a war factory and barracks for Tao to recruit and produce new units. As previously mentioned, it was imperative that an opposing general destroy Tao's nuclear missiles before they were ready to launch. These missiles would be brought online one at a time, and used to destroy the opposing general's base.
Oh, look! I have a nuke all ready for you! Wow, 2 nukes! Oh, I am pleased! 3 nukes! Oh, that is 3 times the fun! 4 nukes! Incredible! 5 nukes! Maybe you want me to send you a clean pair of shorts now, huh?
Destroying any of Tao's nuclear missiles would only serve to anger him.
Ah, no! My warheads! My beautiful warheads! You will pay, General.
Tao was completely unimpressed with any other superweapons that the opposing general might construct to be used against him.
You call that a super weapon, General? It breaks like a toy.
Tao had nothing to say about any of the commandos like Colonel Burton, Black Lotus, or Jarman Kill. However, he would chastise the enemy general for constructing buildings like the Strategy Center, Black Market, and Propaganda Center.
A strategy center? What strategy could you possibly devise to fight me? The black market won't sell you anything powerful enough to stop me, General. Your propaganda will not turn anyone against my nuclear power, General.
Destroying Tao's command center would cause him to freak out over its loss.
My command center? No! I won't lose command. I won't!
If the opposing general managed to defeat Tao, then they'd have to go up against the PLA's third prominent general.
Another moment, and I would have reduced you to dust.
This was, of course, General Ta Hun Kwai.
Soon the field will fill with tanks. My tanks.
General Kwai was the PLA's leading expert in all things armor. He was stationed at Base Rat in Jinan, China. Just like with General Tao, there is some discrepancy with this location, as the general's map shows him being located further south, in the Yunnan province. Reading from his short biography, General Ta Hun Kwai is convinced that the People's Liberation Army will see its greatest military successes in this century through the view holes of its tank divisions. A disciple of Soviet tank tactics of the Cold War, General Ta has produced technical papers on various modifications to them. He has initiated development of techniques to reduce the cost of tank production, and has sponsored the Emperor program, whose first tanks rolled off the assembly line in 2013. Considered part of the old guard in the PLA hierarchy, General Ta nevertheless continues to roll victory after victory in battle.
Tanks are the key to any victory, as you well know.
Due to his heavy reliance on armored vehicles, Kwai, and those one-star generals under his command, could get immediate access to emergency repair crews in order to fix any damaged tanks on the front lines. Similar to General Fei, Kwai also made use of paradrops, only instead of paradropping infantry, he would get Battlemaster tanks. Rank 1 of this support power would deliver 1 Battlemaster from a single Y8. Rank 2 would deliver 2 Battlemasters, and Rank 3 would paradrop 4 Battlemasters, 2 from each Y8 transport. Another important aspect to mention is that only Kwai's 5-star commanders could call in support from an H6 to carpet bomb a designated target location. All armored vehicle crews under Kwai's command go through extra training, making them experienced veterans when deployed onto the battlefield. Battlemaster tank crews could potentially receive further training from Kwai's Rank 1 generals, making them some of the most elite vehicle crews. If Kwai took control of a reinforcement pad, he would have veteran Battlemaster tanks periodically paradropped to it. With the exception of the ECM tank, all ground vehicles in Kwai's arsenal were cheaper to produce.
Tanks! Build more tanks!
Battlemaster tanks could be upgraded with autoloaders from a propaganda center. With autoloaders, Battlemasters could reload and fire faster at enemy targets. Combined with elite training, a division of Kwai's Battlemasters was a formidable force to be reckoned with.
Your tank rush is nothing compared to mine.
By far the most uniquely modified tank in Kwai's arsenal was the Emperor Overlord. This tank was a more powerful version of a standard Overlord. It had a larger turret and reinforced quad treads. While the standard Overlords could be equipped with either a Gatling cannon or speaker tower, the Emperor version could potentially have both. Unlike the standard Overlord though, the Emperor couldn't be upgraded with a bunker. By default, the Emperor Overlord had a speaker tower placed on the upper back portion of its turret, providing inspiration, healing, and repairs to nearby ground units. If the tank commander wanted, he could have a Gatling cannon placed on the forward top part of the tank's turret. This Gatling cannon provided the Emperor Overlord with anti-air protection and short-range stealth detection.
Are you impressed with the modifications to my tanks, General?
Due to Kwai's reliance on tanks, infantry and aircraft in his arsenal were more expensive to produce and train. Kwai avoided using artillery weapon systems like the Inferno and nuke cannons, as he probably felt they would only slow down his mobile armor divisions.
No, you will not win, General. We will build more tanks and defeat you.
Just like with Tao, opposing generals who wished to face Kwai in battle had to do so at his stronghold, which was located in a region that was once fertile farmland. This location had a mostly dry riverbed that stretched across the southwestern half of the map. As one rises higher towards Kwai's base, various lakes can be seen scattered across the northeast portion of the map. Supply caches were scattered throughout this entire area, which both generals would need to use if they wanted to gain an economical advantage over the other. A decent number of these caches are located in a fishing village, located in the southern central portion of the map, next to the dry riverbed.
Ah, can you feel the thunderous song of approaching armor, General?
This map can be split into 4 quadrants, with the southwest quadrant featuring flat land and a supply depot that the opposing general can use to build up their base. There are several supply caches in the area as well, which can be used to generate additional funds. In the northwest quadrant, there is a reinforcement pad in the corner, with a few supply caches next to the pad. Just east of the pad is a repair bay, which, if captured, would provide repairs to all of a general's vehicles on the battlefield. Supply caches can also be seen nearby the repair bay. In the southeast quadrant, there were several supply caches east of the fishing village, next to 2 oil derricks. Both derricks could be captured and used to provide a general with additional funds.
General, I need that oil derrick for my tanks. Release it to me or pay.
Just north of these derricks is an artillery platform next to a small lake, protecting a few supply caches nearby. If captured, the cannon would bombard enemy units passing within its range. Finally, in the northeast quadrant is Kwai's base, which has a defensive perimeter of bunkers and Gatling cannons. An airfield, nuclear reactors, supply centers, and internet center are located along the northern edge of the base. On the eastern edge are more nuclear reactors, another airfield, and Kwai's command center. If an opposing general built a superweapon, then Kwai would respond by building his own nuclear missile on the southern edge of his base, which was close to his propaganda center. A single barracks, flanked on each side by his war factories, was located in the central part of Kwai's base. More nuclear reactors are here, forming a ring around a rock formation.
I am going to take this time to construct more defenses. No, wait. I'll build more tanks instead.
General Kwai would give his thoughts on certain commandos that the opposing general recruited to fight against him. Kwai didn't consider Colonel Burton to be a major threat to him.
No one soldier can turn the tide, not even Colonel Burton.
For Black Lotus, Kwai would try to convince her to join his side.
Ah, Black Lotus, you grace us with your presence. Perhaps you would consider fighting for me.
Mikael, however, would make Kwai worried, thanks to the sniper's skill in taking out tank crews.
All tanks beware. Mikael has entered the field.
For superweapons, Kwai didn't think the particle beam cannon would be enough to stop his tanks.
That particle cannon will never live to fire on me. This particle beam will not defeat us, General.
A nuclear silo only got Kwai excited, as it gave him an excuse to build his own.
And now this war has gone nuclear. Excellent.
Though he would insult the opposing general if they actually launched a nuke against him.
Only a failed general would resort to nuclear missiles.
Kwai would just dismiss the Scudstorm, at least until it was launched at him.
And what do you plan to do with that Scudstorm, General? Your Scudstorm will harm us, but now you have made me angry, General.
Due to his love of tanks, Kwai would get quite upset whenever one of his war factories was destroyed.
We will rebuild that war factory. Soon the tanks will again flow to your base like water.
If Kwai lost in battle, he would warn his opposition of their imminent defeat against General Ling.
You may have defeated my tanks, General, but the Tigress will crush you like an insect.
While these 3 prominent PLA generals didn't seem to play a major role in the Zero-Hour conflict, their expertise could still be put to good use in defending the People's Republic from any future threats like the Global Liberation Army. With the combined might of Shin Fai's infantry forces, Shi Tao's nuclear technology, and Kwai's tank divisions, the PRC is poised to establish itself as the New World superpower in the aftermath of the Zero Hour conflict.